your plane, land your plane, land your plane, land your plane.
Thank you for boarding. Welcome. Thank you for boarding with Land Your Plane podcast. You are on flight 51, first time flyers. Welcome. Thank you for checking me out. Stay a little bit relaxed. If you like it, share the content, please. Like and subscribe. Hit that notification button so you can stay tuned in for all the upcoming flights. You feel me? If you want to be on the show, tap in. Flight family, welcome back. And you already know I'm here with my flight attendants. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Racy.
Hi, LaShonda. Ready for takeoff.
34.5, your favorite cousin from your auntie and uncle you ain't even know you had. We here. Let's get.
Yes, sir. Welcome, everybody. How y'all feeling? How y'all living?
Grateful.
Grateful. Funny that you say that, because that's what today's show is about.
Oh,
it's
it
about
is?
Being grateful.
I never knew.
Today, we are here with the T.H.A.N.K.S system. How to practice gratitude when life isn't perfect. Tonight, we're pushing back on the idea that being grateful means pretending everything is good, because sometimes life hurts. Bills are real, heartbreak is real, loss is real. But gratitude asks us another question. Can I acknowledge what hurts without becoming blind to what still works? You don't have to deny your problems to appreciate your blessings. We're going to jump right into it, man. You at home, you already know. This is my question to you. If someone else has it worse than you, does that mean you don't have the right to be unhappy? Or can gratitude and struggle exist at the same time? Yeah, we're going to go right up into it, man, so we don't hold y'all up and be here all day. We're going to start with T. Take inventory of what still works. Gratitude begins with taking inventory, not just of what you want, but of what you already have. My first question, we start with the ladies, is how can parents how can parents teach children to recognize what they have without minimizing what they lack? Let's start with you, Reese.
All right, repeat it one more time. How can parents teach their children
to recognize what they have without without minimizing what they lack?
Well, my kids are spoiled, so I'm gonna start there. They just get everything under the damn sun that they want, even though I try and stay strong and say I'm not gonna get it. But I think that a lot of it is just teaching. I always try, especially like with my son being he's younger, where my daughter, she's older, so she doesn't, she's starting her own life and learning, the hardships of being an adult. But I always teach my son the basics. Like when he says, "Oh, I want this and I want that," and I'm like, the PlayStation is like one of the biggest things. He needs Robux. He needs money for this game. He needs this battle pass, this whatever. And I always try to explain to him, like, I don't work to buy you PlayStation. Like, do you have a roof over your head? Do you have food on your table? Do you have water to take a shower? Do you have shoes? Do you have clothes? So I think that it's a lot of education, because I never point out things that we don't have. I always point out things that we have. And I also go back and remind him of times when we didn't have a big house that we live in. We do have a nice size house now. We were 5 people in a 2-bedroom apartment. So I always think that instead of pointing out what you don't have, like, no, I don't drive a Benz, but we have a car. We have a nice car. Our car is newer. Like, so I never point out what we don't have. I always point out and reference what we used to have and what we have grown and have better now. And I think that a lot of times, especially with younger children, they get lost in, because they're still growing, they're still learning, they're still trying to figure out things. They get lost in, oh, my friend has this and I want this. And I'm like, okay, well, your friend's, walking around with flip-flops on your feet. They might not have sneakers. I'm like, just because somebody else has something, yeah, it's always good to want it. And I'm always big on earning too. I want my son to earn things. I don't want to just, because I did it so long of just giving to my kids, and they weren't appreciative of things because they're always like, oh, mom will get it for me. Mom will get it for me, or dad will get it for me. So every time he points out what my friends have, I point out what you have. And I think that really, it truly is just education versus pointing out what they don't have and just letting them know, like, well, you have this, you have this, you have that, like, you got this. And I do think that I kind of created a monster when you spoil your children and just give them every time they ask. You just give, and you don't teach them the value of earning. Like, I'm one of 7 children, so we grew up very, like, poor. Like, my grandmother pretty much took care of all of us. We had a lot of hand-me-downs. And it was funny because, school shopping now, everybody's kids are going back to school. And when I realized how much money, and me and Dirty had this conversation yesterday, how much money we have spent on our son to return to school and all the things that he got for school. Like, I remember you got 1 pair of sneakers and you got 5 outfits. That was it. And who cares about next week, because you're going to just remix your outfits and make another outfit next week. So me and my son called me this morning and he was like, Mom, I have so many clothes, I don't know which outfit to pick. And it just, like, that was a teaching moment for him. Like, well, be grateful that you have different outfits to pick from. But I really do think that it's just about teaching your kids what we have and what we used to have versus saying, oh, we don't have this. But because we all started somewhere. So we never just came out, 17 driving a brand new Benz. So you always, like, we didn't come out and just buy a brand new house. Like, so I always reflect to where we came from and where we are now. And I always, think that education part is the most important. Of, you don't have to point out something to get your point across. So I don't have to tell you we don't have this. I can educate you on what we do have. So it's like I can still get the same point across without mentioning what we don't have. So I'm gonna land my plane with that.
Respectfully. Sunny Moon, welcome. You have entered the flight on the T.H.A.N.K.S system today, how to practice gratitude when life isn't perfect. We on the question right now. I'm gonna come to you next. How can parents teach children to recognize what they have without minimizing what they lack? LaShonda.
I think it depends. Like, if it's something that's emotional to them, or they're real upset about it, I might give them a little bit of space to kind of share why they're upset, why they're feeling what they're feeling, what they feel that lack is coming from. If it's a toy, like, I don't have the newest, latest, greatest toy, whatever it is. I think I would go into it a little bit more as to, well, why are you so sad? Well, I want that. Okay. But can you do something else? Looking at other alternatives, and also looking at, like, I like what Reese said about earning it. Like, okay, so you want that particular toy. Is there a way later on you can earn it? Because at this moment, you don't have it in your hands, and I'm not going to run out and probably buy it right at this second. So is there a way that for future, maybe you can earn it? Maybe you can do something, find a way to get that particular toy. In the meantime, we can look at, are there other things you can do, but why you're feeling so emotional or really connected to it. If it's just like some fleeting thing like, oh man, I really want that, my friends have that, and they're just yeah, da, 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 and it's not about emotions, then we can just move past that and we can focus in on, well, what else can you do? What else do you have? What other things are going on for you? And to remind them, like Reese said, about what you do have, and kind of look at what they value. I think we were really big on, what do you value? What's important to you? Our children always knew that there were people that had less than them. Um, Always knew that, always were aware of that, always knew that, we weren't going to buy the newest, the latest, the greatest. That my house was not about that. Like, I grew up, and I pass this on to my children a little bit, and what I said was the fact that I don't really buy name brand things because it's not my name. So I don't really value it, and I don't have stock in the company, and I'm not making money off of it. So I'm not going to bust my butt every day at work to go buy you that. So my children absolutely wore secondhand clothes. Um, they they definitely did. They got new things probably from outside of our immediate household, but in our household, they were secondhand whatever. And when they tore it up, they tore it up. They could play in it, they could run in the mud in it or whatever. It was secondhand. So I had boys mostly in my house, so they could do whatever they wanted to in the clothes. They didn't have to keep it this way or that way because I knew I wanted them to be children first. And my boys like playing outside in the woods and things like that. So they got to be themselves. And my other kid liked to, mess around with art and paint and all that. So he got to do his thing and not have any limitations in that. But there were lots of times that they did not get what their friends had. They grew up in a house that was not like everybody else's. We weren't electronic people. TV, there was one TV in the house for the family. Like, it was very much not like what they were going to school in. And so my kids came home a lot of times like, oh, my friend has this, or my friend knows this, or my friend has that. And we would just talk it out, and find out what the feeling was coming from, what you were feeling, what else could you do. Because one of the things that we did talk about and made sure the kids had is everything that they were really interested in or they were really good at, they had an opportunity to explore that. And I think to me that was way way more important as I look at the kids now and what they're giving me in their 20s as far as feedback goes, is that they were able to see the value in that. Because if they said, "Hey ma, I want to," like one of my sons who said, "Hey ma, I want to be a chocolatier." He said make chocolate because he didn't know what a chocolatier was, of course. But he was like, "I want to make chocolate." And it was like, "Okay, fine." So he got an internship at a chocolate factory, and learned what that was and how to do that at the age of 13. Um, and he made that position. That position wasn't there, and that place didn't have that. So we prided ourselves on fostering what you love. If you loved a sport, we were going to do the sport. I had another son who was in art. We found special art classes for him to go to. So you wouldn't have necessarily the material things that your peers had, but everything that was near and dear to your heart, we tried to foster. And we traveled a lot. So that was the other thing. My kids traveled a lot versus getting material things. Um, so I think it's just hearing them out to see if it's something really of like a real emotional thing to them versus is it just, oh, I want what everybody else has kind of thing, like where their wanting is coming from, and then address it accordingly, to what suits that particular kid. Because we had 6 kids run through my house, and I did not have the same thing for everyone. They were all different. The girls, the boys, all of them, they were just different. So I think you have to address it directly to that particular kid and what's going on for them. But I think you have to do what works in your house. That's really the thing. I'll land with that.
Respectfully. Cool, Billy. Welcome. You were into the flight on the Thinks system, how to practice gratitude when life isn't perfect. Sunny Moon.
What's
We're
good?
gonna get you.
What's good?
We're gonna
What's
get,
good? Panel, family, what up?
So what's up? What's up, family?
Hey, cuz.
we're gonna come to you right after Sunny Moon. Sunny Moon, how can parents teach children to recognize what they have without minimizing what they lack?
That's difficult and that's an ongoing thing. That would never just be one type of thing. I know right now, in my household, I have a teenager, so I'm trying to get my teenager to understand boundaries with your friends and family, right? So I want her to understand that yes, you see your friends all week, but you ain't got to see them all weekend. Like, when do you give your time to your family? When do we get a chance to bond with you too? When do we get to laugh? When do we get to enjoy your company? Right? Because when you come from school, you do homework, you take a shower, and you're in your room. Back to your friends or your game, right? So is it family time? When do you give us time to enjoy you? So I feel like that's a battle in a lot of homes as well. Like, how do I? So for me, I try to justify like, okay, well, we'll pick out a time you can go with your friends, right? That's always a battle. Or try to, find things to do in public and maybe you could bring one or two of your friends to come along with you. Like, it's still a battle because I definitely want it to be a family thing. Right? We don't want to drag our friends along everywhere we're going. I want her to understand the boundary of family and friends, right? Because we're going to be here for her, right? No matter what she thinks in her brain, there's going to be toes right here down every single second of the day. But see, them friends change on you when the wind blow, and she don't feel that way. Excuse me. My teenager doesn't feel that way because of the company she keeps. And I'm like, girl, that's nothing. That company will be changed multiple times throughout your years. Girl, I done had that company 10, 15 times. You get them and they go, baby. They get them and they go, baby. You're going to have one, two solid friends, maybe, and be maybe. Like, let's be clear. You always can be able to comfort somebody who always wants to hear what you have to say that's negative. There's always going to be an ear for that. So it's like the boundary to me in the home is like, how can I guide to give an understanding that there's not a lot of people that actually care about what their kids are doing. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but they're not really waiting around or asking to get that family time. They're not asking to get that youth. They're not asking to get that understanding. They're not asking to understand their child. It's what do you like, what you want to do, and let them do it. I'm in here trying to teach this child that there's a lot of homes that are broken, a lot of them, and you can't tell until you sit down in them, and then you be like, damn, we ain't got that going on in my house. Oh, my uncle don't touch kids. He actually loves them. Nobody worries about my uncle around my us. Like, so it's different. I just want her to learn, but excuse me, my teenager. So that's when the guidance is here. It's like trying to guide your child to understand that family does come first, and it doesn't matter what you've done seen, what I'm going through with my family, or what somebody else is going with their family at home. We are first, and I laugh.
Respectfully. Cool. Billy,
It's cracking.
how can parents teach children to recognize what they have without minimizing what they lack?
It's interesting. Hmm. Say it again.
How can parents teach children to recognize what they have without minimizing what they lack?
That's a good question. It's interesting. I like that. I like when I'm stumped and I have to think of shit. So I like those. I like those
We come
questions.
back around with y'all. Dirt is long-winded, so that's why I let him sweep it up. We go to Dirt. We come back to you. We can circle back around.
Copy.
Go ahead, Dirt. How can parents teach children to recognize what they have without minimizing what they lack?
It's because I just to let them realize that it's easier to focus on what you're mad at. You know what I mean? It's easier. It's an easier place, and it's easier to not be grateful for things that we consider bare minimum things. Like we was talking, I was saying, like, just Googling. I think that when you think about what you don't have and you use that as a focus of your energy or your time, you're taking away time from thinking about what you do have. And, and you woke up this morning and guess what? God, bless anybody who's disabled, but you're not disabled. There's some people who you can
Mute up if you, my bad, to cut your wisdom. Mute up if you got something going on in the background, please. If you're not talking.
Yeah.
Hit the mute for me. That's me. Hit the mute for me. I'm in the kitchen.
Yeah. I woke up, I was in a car accident and I woke up with diabetes. You know what I mean? I guess wear your seatbelt, I mean. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have my seatbelt on. So, just waking up and not having a health issue is a blessing. But it's one that we don't give credit to. And I truly believe the people who are the most grateful will receive the most rewards because they're showing gratitude. Imagine if you had a person if you had two homeless people, or people without homes, I don't know, whatever they call themselves now, whatever, in between homes, and you gave those two people lunch every day. You decided to make lunch, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and one person every time was just thankful. They ain't gotta, you know what I mean? They just thank you for this peanut butter and jelly. And you have another person who's going, damn, this is not the crunchy peanut butter. Oh man, this bread right here ain't toasted. Oh man, peanut butter and jelly again. If you had a person doing that, if you only had one peanut butter and jelly left, who you gonna give it to? You're gonna give it to the thankful one. So I think that it's just teaching them that, gratitude is the ultimate thing for yourself because it brings a certain level of peace. While you worried about who's your friend, who's not, like I think
should feed both of them, feed both of them.
I only got one sandwich. You're
supposed to break it in half, okay? No one has to starve.
Look.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm giving it to the thankful one.
Jeez.
Cut it in quarters.
I guess he'd be thankful now, right? Nigga watching
Yeah,
eating shit, huh?
Yeah.
Right,
He's already. Well, you got to think about it. He's already a complainer.
Tough
so
love.
He's going to be complaining how he didn't get the sandwich. I already know what he's going to say. He's a complainer. If I gave him the sandwich, you know what he's going to say? Damn, you ain't giving a sandwich to
a small piece.
Yeah, and if I give him half a sandwich, are we only giving half a sandwiches now? I don't want to hear that. I just want to be.
You don't know he's going to say that.
I know. That's when you become a complainer. It becomes your. You can't tell me we all grown-ups in here. Ain't none of us young. We all know somebody in life who you can call. You call this person because you know you like them, you love them, they're your family. Now, when I say family, I don't even mean DNA. I mean that's your family. But you give them a call and you already know they're gonna run down everything wrong in their life to you, from the weather. They'll tell you how to
weather. Hang around with those type of people.
Yeah, but you and why?
Exactly.
Yeah, because of that. So why I'm giving this nigga a sandwich again? That's what I'm talking about. The idea of how when you're grateful and you're overstanding and your focus becomes your focus. Whatever you focus on, that's like, I knew this dude when I was locked up. He had just watched the Training Day movie. This is before we got locked up together. He had ate his shit in the courtroom so he could get found crazy. They kept sending him to the doctor, to say he crazy, see if he's crazy or not. They kept saying, I don't know, he crazy, but I don't know if he isn't crazy. I don't know. Finally, after I think 2 years of going to the doctor said if he wasn't crazy originally, if he played crazy so long, he actually is crazy now. He is really stuck with him. And that's the same. Whatever you make your focus in life, whatever you make who you are, that's who you become. You become that person who's ungrateful. You become that person who's not giving thanks. That becomes a part of your makeup. You ever go out to eat? I'm the most politest person to people serving me food. You ever went out with somebody that's opposite of that? That's who they have become. That's what they can't help. This is normal to them. They don't even realize. Damn, it took you a long time to bring these drinks. I would never say that to a fucking waitress. I don't give a fuck my whole meal. I'm not trying to get my next drink spit in. Thank you. I see. Thank you. I'm not even going to comment anything that makes it seem like I'm out of place. That I don't get that they working and might be busy. You need to. I'm teaching my kids to not just to realize, be thankful for you got sneakers. Like Reese was saying, nigga, I ain't never had as much school clothes, but I bet, and I ain't go buy him a bunch of Old Navy stuff. No disrespect to the Old Navy parents. You know what I mean? I respect it. I've been there, literally. I can't disrespect Old Navy parents because my mother was one. They did that jean deal. I had some Old Navy jeans on. You know? And until I went to school and somebody made fun of me and told me they didn't know I was military. Oh, man, that shit ruined my day. Because I really thought it was a nice outfit. I had it picked out to go to school. I was ready.
He was military. What?
Nigga told me I was nigga gigged on me and
You
told me
must
I
have
was
had the crease in the front of them jeans, like the official crease.
Because it said,
no, because it said Old Navy. He said, he said, oh, you part of the Old Navy? Oh, you old military. Okay. I'm like, what? I'm not in the military. He's like, yeah, we know what that. He seen the commercial. He knew the sell. It was over. It was hot. I ain't want to go no more. I cut school the next day. I ain't started, but I cut school. I ain't want to go back because she had bought me so much Old Navy shit when she first bought it. You couldn't tell me I wasn't about to be to him. You know what I'm saying? I had all my love notes, circle yes, circle no, circle maybe. They stopped circling maybe and started circling no on my ass. It was hard. It was hard out here for a kid at the school. So it's like, no, I don't want my kid to do that. So I want to teach him, yeah, be thankful. Be thankful to, I always say to them, say thank you to your mother. Say thank you to it starts with you. We are scarred people. All of us in our own ways. And I ain't talking about the falls. I'm talking about the scars you have exhibited through life. And the worst thing we can do is pass those scars, because you niggas be worried about sexually transmitted diseases. Nigga, pain is a transmitted thing. You can transmit that. You can transmit that to your kids and who they are and to build up who they is. And now other people got to deal with it. The sad part is, no disrespect nobody parent, but it probably happened to us. Mm-hmm. My mother didn't have a mother. My grandmother was an alcoholic until I got older. She did get clean. Respect to her. She stayed sober until she died. My mother didn't have a mother, and I know that's how she raised me. Like, you should be happy I'm fucking here. I can leave like my mother. And the funniest part, honestly, that's how I originally raised my kids until I realized what I was doing. Because I was just thinking they should just be happy to have a dad, because my dad was telling me he was coming, and we cool now, but he ain't come. It was hilarious because me and my grandmother, his mother and my mother and me all stayed in the same building. I would see this nigga on the elevator coming to visit his mother. He wouldn't even be coming to visit me. It'd be like a shock. Oh, what's what you doing here, Dad? Oh, no, I'm just going to see Grandma, I was going to come see. He might even lie, might not even lie. Yeah, whatever. But it was my reality. So when I first had my kids in the house, like, you should be happy I'm here. Even though I wasn't even there at that point because I was too busy high, smoking weed and shit all day long. And I ain't like smoking in front of my kids. So I'm in the room with the door closed and thinking I'm there with them. Do I play with my son every day and wrestle with him every day now? No. However, we do laugh. We do have conversations. And I know the older he get, because I know at one point he thought his dad was mean. Now, he might still think that. He still might see me as the mean one. But I think now he sees my dad's trying to make me something. And that's because of consistency. So whatever you're trying to apply, you got to be consistent with it. And I'll land with that.
Respectfully. Cool. Billy, circle back around to you. How can parents teach children to recognize what they have without minimizing what they lack?
I just say, just shit. It's really still stumped, but just teach them, talk to them, about appreciation. Show them, again, kind of what everybody pretty much said. I don't know what everybody, I caught a couple. Just show them the difference between friends who have and friends who don't have. So, you know what I'm saying? Look what happens with the friends that have and now have. You know what I'm saying? Have them be able to talk to them a little bit more, tell them about appreciation. That's what I got.
Respectfully,
Yeah.
I want to highlight. Y'all said I
Dwell
would
on
say,
appreciation. Dwell on appreciation.
my bad. I
Because
thought you
when
was
you
done.
appreciate it, you get more. Usually, that's how your shit goes. Like pretty much what Cuzzo was saying about the sandwich. You're gonna want to feed the ones that appreciate it more. The ones that don't appreciate it and then complain, you're gonna start backing away. Like, all right, now you entitled. That's what. Go ahead, you go.
Respectfully. I want to highlight something y'all said was make it like a theory. One thing you could try with your kids is have them write down three things. And two of the things that I want to highlight y'all said is one thing that you do have and ask them to write down one person you appreciate and ask them what's one opportunity that you still have. If they see something that they think they deem that they want or they couldn't believe, ask them what's one opportunity that you still have versus, somebody paralyzed or somebody, not doing too good. Um, Realize that your blessings don't come with tracking numbers. They was always at you feel me, sitting on your porch the whole time. We're gonna move to H. Honor the people who helped you. Somebody believed in you when you weren't particularly impressive. Gratitude isn't just appreciating things, it's appreciating people. My question to you is how can parents teach children to appreciate effort rather than entitlement? And we're going to start with Sunny Moon.
Effort instead of entitlement. How do you teach your kids that? Um, well, mm, I like to work out with mine and and show the effort you gotta put into even want to start the workout, right? It's about teaching them what the difference is first. You gotta do that first. So with the workout, you gotta want to do it. So if you already don't want to do it, your effort's gonna be low. So you're already entitled of not wanting to do it already, right? So you have to have a reason. So when you're sitting here thinking oh, why are we working out? It's like we're working out because we want to be a little healthier. We're not gonna be here long. Trust me, I don't work out long. We're gonna be here long. We're just getting it in there because it's something we have to do to make ourselves feel better, right? That waves it out to what can we do in that time of period to make us feel better. It could be like music. It could be like a snack afterwards. It could be something that could um, somewhere we can go or do something together. The objective is to show the difference of what entitlement looks like and effort. If you put this effort in, you'll be able to feel better about yourself, right? If you're not doing that, you're entitled to be the lacking that you have in yourself. So if you can't breathe, if you're overweight, if you feel like you're overly musty, or you always feel like you can't keep that horrendous breath down, there's things that you need to do. You can't just feel entitled like you're gonna wake up and then you're gonna all of a sudden these things are gonna be better for yourself. No, you have to be able to work towards these things to make yourself feel better inside. So to me, I would just say, focus on the idea of the difference of what you're trying to give in that time period. And I'll land.
Respectfully, how can parents teach children to appreciate effort rather than entitlement? Lashonda.
Um,
Mhm. What's this
I,
picture about?
and I'm laughing. Okay, I'm going to say this because this would be what my kids would say was true. And I've tweaked it since they're grown up because you hopefully, as a parent, you learn as your kids get older. Um, but I told my kids early on, you're the only thing you're entitled to is to breathe. That's it. You're entitled to air. The food, the clothing, the shelter, I have to provide by law. So I have to provide that by law. And it doesn't mean the things you want on those arenas. It just means I have to provide those things. Like like I could give you peanut butter and jelly every day. By law, I am feeding you. Um, you know, kind of thing because it nutrition varies depending on what politicians are in office um but yeah, so I raise my kids with the fact that you're not entitled to anything. I have one child who believed that he was entitled to respect. And I laugh because we battled on that one quite a bit. You may want respect, but entitled to respect to me kind of depends on your behavior and how you act. Because if you're being disrespectful, I might not give you respect back. I might on a good day, and on a bad day, I might not give you respect back. It just kind of depends. So I believe that, that entitlement didn't come up in my house. And I believe just because my kids knew that that isn't really an option in our house. And we used to say the number of our house, and we would say like 1205, let's say, was the number of our house, and we would say in 1205 this is how things happen. Now outside in the world, things happen the way they happen, but in this house, this is how we do things. So they knew that they weren't really entitled, and things came from effort. Things came from your behavior, how you treated people. If you were mean to your brothers and sisters, what would make them want to take you anywhere, play with you, share toys with you, any of that kind of stuff. So everything that happened was let me say, most things that happened were about how you behaved and how you showed up. So if you showed up with an attitude or being obnoxious or being a pain in the butt, then you didn't get much. And there was nobody that was going to constantly intervene on that. Like you weren't going to come to me, your brother won't play with you. Well, you were mean to your brother, and I'm not even going to entertain the conversation because you got what you got because of the way you behaved. So I think sometimes it's, as parents, you have to set the tone. I don't think what it's Dirk said about consistency. And I think that we minimize that too much as parents. I battled a lot with my children. I was not their favorite person by any stretch of the imagination on many of things. And I'm okay with that because I wasn't trying to be their friends, nor was I needing them to like me. But what I was trying to do at the end of the day was making sure that I was hitting certain marks that I had, which were my kids, can they talk? Can they express what they need? Are they going toward things that they love in their heart, whatever that was? And all of them was very vastly different what they wanted to do in this world. Were they headed toward that? Did they know how to do that? Did they understand that their happiness was the most important thing in the world? They were exposed to a relationship with a higher power, and they got to choose, as they go on, whether they believe that or not, whatever, but they were grounded in some things. The other stuff was not necessarily battles I was going to take on or things that I was going to get vested in. And I didn't care about running my house according to the culture outside. That just wasn't my thing. Everyone had cell phones. Well, my kids will tell you they did not have cell phones until way later. I don't care what the culture said. I don't care what anybody else said. This is my house. If you ain't paying for it, even if people volunteered, which we did have people volunteer to pay for it, this is my house, my rules. Or our house, my rules. Same thing. I can say I, we, whatever. It's not happening here because I know the goal. I know where I was trying to get each individual kid and what they really wanted, and sitting down with them and talking to them as to what makes them happy. That was most important to me. My kids felt heard. They really felt heard. We had 2 to 3 hour dinners most nights because my kids got to talk as long as they wanted and share their day and what was going on for them. And so I got to know all their friends' names, their teachers, what was going on, who was this, who was that, getting vested into their life. That was more important to me than the other stuff. So that when I say I know my children, I know my children. Like I understand their friends and the behaviors, and I could see when something was changing or shifting or going on with them. So for me, the effort on their part was how they're acting, and the effort on my part was being present, right? Because you have to model it to some degree. So for me, yes, in those 2 to 3 hours after dinner, did I have stuff I had to do? Oh, hell yes. There were tons of things I had to do. But that was time I slotted to be present for them, to hear their stories, to hear what was important to them, to see what was going on. And the fact that they did it together, which meant they each knew where each other was, how each other was growing. And they would even call each other like, that's not what you said 2 months ago. Well, I've changed and blah, blah, blah. But that's because they knew each other and they could have that kind of conversation. So I put in the effort and made that sacrifice for them. The other things that, society said I should make sacrifices for, I wasn't doing it because it wasn't important for me. And long term, I just knew that that wasn't important for them and what I felt that they kind of needed. So I always think it's effort. It's not entitled. You're entitled to breathe, and that's about it. Like I'm okay with people not liking what I'm doing. I was the villain for many years as my kids were growing up, and that was okay for me. But my kids are, most of my kids right now are 20 some years old. And I know exactly what's going on in their life. We have real conversations. They tell me when they mess up. They tell me what's going on in their relationships. I know their careers. I know all that. We don't have all this stuff going on because we were working things out as we moved forward. Did I do it perfectly? Oh, hell no. Did I make a lot of mistakes? Absolutely, positively. What I tell my kids always, and I tell this to everybody who's in a relationship with me, what I can guarantee is I will make mistakes, but I can also guarantee that I will change. And I'll land with that.
Respectfully. Reese Mula, how can parents teach children to appreciate effort rather than entitlement?
It was funny she mentioned the peanut butter and jelly sandwich because my son always brings up, well, I'm going to call somebody on you. And I said, listen, I can feed you cereal. As long as I'm feeding you, I'm feeding you. So it was funny because my son yesterday, as we were driving down the road, he had seen somebody that was an addict and he just started automatically talking bad. And it just reminded me, and like I had a conversation with him later when we got home and I was a functional addict. And that's what I would say. I still worked every day. I still held the job down through all of my madness of everything that I did. And I had to explain to him that when you have the effort to change and you have the willingness to do it, you can. Some people struggle differently. But I definitely think what LaShonda was saying with the presence of it, my daughter got a different type of presence that my son had. My daughter growing up, because they are 8 years apart, she had got more of me being the functional addict almost all of her childhood. Where my son, he got to experience some of his childhood of me being more present in different areas. Me and Dirt used to battle about teaching my son when he was younger. And he taught him his ABCs, taught him how to write his name, all of that. Where I wanted him to be a kid. I just wanted him to do things and not learn. And looking back at it now, that effort that he put in has benefited my son so much as he grew older because he went into preschool already knowing how to spell his name. first and last name. He went into preschool already knowing his ABCs. Like my son was 3 years old and could write his first and last name and spell it for you. So like I use that as an example for my son, you know, that your dad put that effort in to make sure that you were where you needed to be. Where I lacked at that point in my parenting at that point with my son. I did more with my daughter. But I think that one of the biggest things is that, especially like, I think raising boys and girls are different too. And, you know, being a woman to my daughter was easier as a mother for me than trying to raise my son. And, you know, I'm a firm believer in that both genders need both of their parents. But I feel like that women put more effort into a daughter because they know more about what that child needs than, you know, me being. I'm like, how do I teach you to pee in the toilet and hit the Cheerio because I don't have a thing? So, like, you know, I think that when you just model the effort, and, you know, like I explain to my son all the time, you know, people work at McDonald's. If they didn't work there and put that effort in for that job, you wouldn't be able to eat a Big Mac. And I said, so you have to start out somewhere in life. Some people get stuck there, but some people grow, and that's because they're putting effort into things that they want to do. I asked my son the other day, what do you want to be when you get older? He named about 25 different things. And he's like, I want to be an astronaut. And I said, well, can you be an astronaut if you're not focusing on that? He's like, yeah. I said, no, you don't just walk out tomorrow and be like, hey, I'm going to be an astronaut and go get on the plane and just take off. And so like I tried to explain, so he's still young, obviously. He's going to have time to figure out what he wants to do in his life. But I do think that modeling, and I explained to my son too also that, you know, he has had his dad in his life pretty much all of his life, where his older brothers and sisters haven't had him steadily as a father. And that's effort that he put in to be present for him and teach him things and how to become a man and different things. And parenting ain't easy. There is no book out there that tells you how to be a perfect parent. I've fricked up along the line multiple times, but I've always put the effort in to be a better parent. And, you know, I do think that a lot of it, again, is just teaching your kids, showing them, because I want a model behavior that I want my son to do. So when we do go out to restaurants, it's please, thank you, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. You clean up the table. And like that little thing that you just cleaned up that table, you might have made that waitress's day. Because now she can move faster and go get another, because, you know, waitresses make nothing. It's all based on tips. So like just the little things that you have to be grateful for that, you know, and I do think a lot of it is just modeling the behavior that you want your children to see. And I modeled a lot of inappropriate behaviors throughout my journey of being a parent, but I also am more focused on putting the effort into modeling the more positive behaviors now. I don't want any of my kids to have to go through any type of addiction. So I try to model that and stay with that to teach especially my son being he's younger, so he's going to get into that teenage years that we all know how it is to be a teenager. You start experimenting because you see Bob and Henry and Dick and doing all this other stuff. So I can only control myself. I can't even control him. I can teach him. I can model what I want him to do, but I'm not going to be able to control his actions. So I think that it all really is on letting them know that you're putting in the effort. And also, I don't think there's anything wrong with letting them have small disappointments. I think that sometimes those disappointments are the teaching, and that's showing them the efforts. You know, at first I used to constantly hand my kids everything, and now I'm to the point where it's like, you might be disappointed that I told you can't have Robux. But those disappointments are also teaching moments that life hands you whatever it's going to hand you at that moment. It may be something good that it hands you, it might be something bad, but you got to take the good and the bad and roll with it either way. So I really do think a lot of it's just the teaching and modeling, like what you want. And, you know, you have to be grateful, and you have to think about all the effort that people put in. You know, your teachers, they're putting in effort out of their day to teach you when they probably got their own kids at home. I couldn't be a teacher because I don't want to go to school and teach 30 little rugrats and then go home and teach another rugrat. Like I think about it all the time. My mom must have fucking been crazy having 7 kids because I had 2 and they're 8 years apart, and I couldn't even imagine a hurdle of children behind me because I am done. I don't want to raise kids. I don't even know if I'm ready to be a grandma because I already my patience now is like zip. I don't have patience for children, but I have patience for grown ass people. Like it just don't make sense to me. But again, I went on a whole tangent, but definitely just you showing the graceness of the effort that other people do and modeling that for your children. And, you know, I let my son talk to a degree. I want you to express yourself to a degree. Once you start going on a tangent and cutting me off and being disrespectful, you got to go. So I'm gonna land with that.
Respectfully. Dirty. How can parents teach children to appreciate effort rather than entitlement?
I think that one of the hardest parts about parenting is we don't realize we were taught everything. So when we thinking in our mind that somebody should just be grateful for something, you know, I think that take your kid to work day was a blessing. You know what I mean? Is a real thing for them to see that hey, all you seeing is the check. You know what I mean? You don't even know how I'm getting this right now. You don't know what's going on. And I think that it ain't about sitting there complaining about your all day job to these people, you know, to your kids or whatever. However, at the same time, just letting them know nothing is easy. And, you know, I wonder that a lot of times was my son learning that. And this summer, he opened up a parking lot in our driveway because they had a concert by a crib. He made $580 parking cars. You know what I mean? And I appreciated his effort. And I told him, you know, I took the money and I didn't go spend it on myself. I wish I did that. Some Jordans that came out. But I had took it and we broke it down and gave him an allowance from that money. And it lasted him all summer. You know, so I think it's just the constant, it's just the consistency. You know, you don't learn how, we know Michael Jordan didn't learn how to dunk on the first try. So we can't assume a kid's going to learn to be appreciative once we just tell them, say thank you. Say, well, you know, they're not going to learn from that. And also, I was talking to my son, I think yesterday, we went shopping again, you know, for clothes for him again to get him finished off. And he was like, I'm thankful. And I was like, you know, I think that's the part that I at least work on my son is like, I asked him, I said, what does appreciation mean? What is appreciation? Is it a word? He was like, no. And, you know, he made me proud. He said, it's an action. He said that. So I think that's the key too, like just teaching them. We live life, and when we do have kids, it's not just, you know, it's so we can help the kids learn what it might have took us longer to learn, or we might not have been taught. And when he said it's an appreciation is an action, I was like, so what actions can you display that shows you're appreciative for the clothes and the things you've been given to go to school? And he said, behave. You know, so I think that's the key thing, teaching them that appreciation is more than a word. I can say thank you and then steal you from your house tomorrow. You can say thank you for these clothes, and the first day you're in school, we getting a note saying
You saying thank you because you appreciated that you had to steal that item.
No.
Am I right? Like, yo.
No.
Okay. All right. My bad.
No. That was only at PS50. That's when they taught you that at PS50.
I'm just, yeah. My bad.
We went to different elementary, so it's different at my school. At PS50, they didn't learn appreciation because they didn't have recess, because they didn't have nowhere to play. Yeah, they had nowhere to play. LaShonda. So they had to just sit in the school and steal cookies from the lunch lady. It was very sad. Sad kids had to go there. You know what I mean? It's a real thing. But yeah, appreciation it's an action.
I'm gonna spin the block on that. I'm cooking. that ain't over. As soon as you slide with that.
What I was saying was, yeah, I think that's the one thing I even learned in myself. I had to learn that true appreciation is an action. It's action. Matter of fact, not an action. It's the action taken after you, whatever you say you received. So if somebody makes dinner for you, is it appreciative to say thank you for the dinner? Yeah, it's cool. But what's real appreciation? Probably going to wash the dishes. That's real. Is the action is going to take the same way you is acknowledgement of the energy it took for somebody to do something to now put your energy to do something else. And that's how you teach your kids, by teaching them that no, it ain't just about you saying thank you. It's about what you do after the thank you. You know, I've been a person who hasn't always expressed appreciation. You know, we used to go swim in a reservoir when we was kids. And we swam in the reservoir and we had met this dude. He was the one that brought us to the reservoir. I could have drowned in that reservoir because I came from the fucking projects. We had pools with bottoms. This is a reservoir. Shit was like 70 fucking feet deep. You know what I mean? And nigga jumped in there and saved my life. And I didn't even realize how much my life was saved. Maybe a couple of months later, I fucked his girlfriend. You know, wasn't appreciative. I probably said thank you that day when he first saved me, but I didn't really demonstrate appreciation. You know, end up fighting that same dude, broke his arm during the fight, pissed in his hat during another fight we had. What was back? Those was the verse, but either way, that was not appreciative for this nigga saving my life when I almost drowned. And we had another friend who actually did drown there. God rest his soul. So it's like, even then, I didn't think, I was not appreciative. But now, in hindsight, because you know that's 22, I'm thinking, damn, I could have been more appreciative to that person. So it's the action you take after the thing that's done. Like you maybe like almost like LaShonda was saying too. I get it when you buying the secondhand drip clothes or whatever. But if you're appreciative for the new clothes, don't damage the shit. I got sneakers right now still in the box. Cause in this age, I done learned some fucking appreciation. I'm scared to take the shits out the box. I don't want to get no dust on them motherfuckers. You gotta, and then appreciate yourself. Learn how to be appreciative to your higher power, yourself, and then others. The same way they say you can't love somebody else until you love yourself, you probably truly can't appreciate somebody else until you learn how to appreciate yourself. And I'll land with that.
Respectfully. Cool, Billy. How can parents teach children to appreciate effort rather than entitlement? Time is up.
Yeah, I'm here. Yo, shout out to PS50. Fuck this nigga talking about. Yeah, look at me now. Motherfuckers, alumni. Thank you. All right, excuse me. I would say I pretty much, you know what I mean? The panel once again came through with very good answers. So, you know what I mean? I hate to detour or defer off what they said because everything is pretty much on point. So I have to join in and say leading by example. Also, too, kind of what Cuzzo said, that was real good. Having them come to work day. You know what I'm saying? And then I haven't seen that in a while. I don't know if they canceled it or not, but yeah, even that was a very good one. Having them see how, you know what I mean, we get this money instead of, you know what I mean, the opposite of things. Well, I can say more just seeing. She sees now. it's a little different when you collect it. You know what I'm saying? It's a little different perspective. Now she understands. I love how dad comes through. And that's just speaking a little bit on me. But yeah, I land.
Respect. Don't wait for a funeral to give somebody their flowers, man. Call them, text them, talk to them, and tell them specifically what you're thanking them for. Because a thank you is way more powerful with details. People like to know what they're being thanked for. You feel me? Like you said, the action. So I'll speak highly to that. Yeah, it's the top of the hour. We can go to commercial break right quick, and then matter of fact, hold on, I got a question for you at home. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, where's that? What is one thing you complained about this week that somebody else would be grateful to have? Let me know in the comment section, man. You at home, you watching. Let me know.
Land Your Plane is a show where truth takes off and accountability lands. Guests face honest questions about love, loyalty, relationships, ego, family, and the conversations most people avoid. Want to be a guest or bring family on? If you have a story, unresolved conversation, relationship question, or truth you're ready to face, we want you on the show. Apply here. And somebody will get back to you or comment. Ready to land. Clear the runway. Your seat is waiting.
You lied to me. You promised me that you would never ever switch sides on me. Honestly, I respect modesty, and I might have to take it as comedy. Always quietly, no quantity. Cut your sleeve, I don't want no apologies, cause it don't mean nothing without honesty. Honestly, you try to be, it wasn't that, I ain't not fighting me. All I really want is vibes and peace and fire to ride with me, there's no I in team. I am who I say I am the anomaly. Cockily, rejected your drama league. Constantly, you asking me if I could leave, and them the streets or the sheets. I know she a freak, uncle like baby E.T. I wanna stay, but I gotta leave. I wanna stay, but I gotta leave. You lied to me. You promised me that you would never ever switch sides on me. Honestly.
Welcome back. Y'all all right out there?
We're
I
good.
said y'all all right?
Good.
Yes.
Yeah, we good, man. We good.
All right, let's do it.
Where that track at? That track on everywhere we listen to music at? I like that.
Yeah, yes, sir. Everywhere you can hear music, tap in with that, man. Honestly, by somebody named Mr. 1080.
Yeah.
You guys got some
I
good
don't
music, man.
I don't like the name, but the music is fire.
I feel you. All right, let's move along, man. We did H, now we on A. Appreciate the ordinary. We often call something a blessing only after we lose it. My question to y'all, excuse me, how do you appreciate today without constantly waiting for tomorrow? LaShonda, we start with you.
I think it's the action you take. If we take the stance of appreciation as an action, it's the actions you take today. Do you sit and you do nothing all day and wait for tomorrow? Or do you take advantage of the 24 hours you're given right now? I think what they always say, the proof is in your actions and how you show up. Not necessarily always the words you say, because you can say one thing and do another, but it's how you show up. So if today is a day that, let's say, you have nothing exciting going on, or you just have to clock into a 9 to 5, um, how do you appreciate that day? What are some things that you can do? What are some things that you can pay attention to? It's kind of like the panel said before. What are you paying attention to? Are you paying attention to all the things that we think are simple and easy that you might take for granted, like your health and your physical thing, or your physical body, or the fact that you even have a 9 to 5 that's going to pay you at the end of the week or every 2 weeks or whatever? Um, what are you not paying attention to? Maybe your coworkers. Maybe you have some really good coworkers that you like that are, support you at your job and make your day go along easier. There's 1,001 things. One of my favorite things used to be sitting at the park and watching animals for an hour. I would, walk or run for an hour or so, and then I would just sit and watch the animals. And I greatly appreciated that because the time and the little things that I learned and the little reminders, I believe that divine always has messages for you. And nature is a perfect teacher. It is the perfect teacher. If you forget about anything, nature is there to teach you. It teaches you about cycles. It teaches you about letting go. It teaches you about weathering storms. It just teaches you everything. If you watch the animals, you watch the trees, they have cycles, and there's a cycle for us to let things go and release them. And there's a cycle for things to grow. And there's a cycle where you think nothing's going on, but things are going on the inside where you need to fix things and make sure they're strong. It's a great teacher, and I think sometimes when we pause, we can see those little things, animals, children, all of that. You can see some amazing things and learn some lessons, even in those days we call ordinary. If you look for it, there's a miracle that happens every day. And I'm just saying one, but there's multiple that happen every day. So to me, appreciation is making the best out of the day that you have, and not taking it for granted. Because I think Dirty said this before, though. It's like somebody didn't wake up today. Someone didn't have that opportunity today. Somebody lost something super major. They might have lost their eyesight. They might have lost their physical ability. They might have lost their home or something. And today you had an ordinary day. I'll take ordinary hands down over any of those kind of tragedies happening for me in a day. So I think we have to learn how to pause and not get caught up so much in this old era of the rat race, because it never made anybody happy. So we have to kind of reprogram ourselves and focus in on what makes us happy and add that to our day, as big or as little as you can. If it's 5 minutes, it's 5 minutes. If it's a whole hour or half a day, do that. But I think we have to find ways to appreciate the things we have. And sometimes the appreciation is caring for the things. Maybe it's something in your house or a room in your house. You know what? I haven't cleaned it in a while. Maybe I need to go in and clean it because I appreciate having this space. So maybe I need to go in and take care of it because I've been neglecting it for a while. It's that action and showing that appreciation for the things that are there in your life that we might take for granted because we're so busy in this crazy rat race of being busy and having multitasking and all that other crazy nonsense. Um, but I definitely think appreciation is an action, and I think an ordinary day can wind up being so special and magical if we let it. I'll land with that.
Respectfully. Reese Mula, how do you appreciate today without constantly waiting for tomorrow? And then give me an example with your example.
I'm gonna kind of piggyback off LaShonda a little bit. I definitely do think that it's the action. I'm somebody who's not I'm better now, but I was somebody that was not always appreciative of the things that I had every day. And then when you start losing those things, then you realize, like, damn, only if I showed a little bit of appreciation for that thing, it wouldn't have went the way that it went, or something wouldn't have happened the way that it did. Um, so I definitely do think that sometimes we get caught up with, especially, I'm going to speak for myself, but also women. Sometimes you get caught up in this lane and you forget about this lane over here, and you're just seeing a straight, narrow path. And I do think that anger sometimes plays a role in why some people aren't as appreciative as they should be. Um, I'm somebody that is working on it, but when I get mad, anything that you've done, anything you've given me, it just goes right out the window. And to me, I'm so focused on that one negative thing that I fail to be appreciative or grateful for all of the things. Like, um, and that goes for relationships, friendships, jobs. You know, I could be at work one day and the minute they piss me off, I'm like, fuck this place. And then I have to like sit back and realize, like, they pay your bills. So you know, you forget to be appreciative for those little things, that a lot of times there's multiple little things that make the big thing. And I had to learn that the small little things that you might overlook at that moment, because you're like, oh, that's something so minute, but those are the things that most time that mean the most. And those are the things that you need to focus on the appreciation for. Like, nobody has to pay your rent, but if you're with somebody who pays the rent every month, you have a roof over your head, and that's one less struggle or one less worry that you have to worry about. And then it's like, I think that again, a lot of it sometimes is definitely that you put your blinders on to what you want to see and what you want to be appreciative for, when, you know, sometimes just driving down the road makes me appreciative when I see people that are standing outside with a sign, or somebody that's saying that they're hungry and don't have water and don't have clothes. Um, and I just think that as humans, we're so focused on what other people think and what other people have that we forget what we have, and what, like, that is what drives you to be better, to accomplish things that other people may have. Um, and I'm guilty of it myself. I've gotten lost with, oh, I want what they have, but I don't appreciate what I have. Like, oh, I want that brand new Benz, but I don't appreciate the car that starts every day, that runs every day, that gets me where I need to go every day. And I think that, you know, society plays a role in it. I think selfishness plays a role in it. You want what you want when you want it, and you fail to realize the sacrifices other people make so you can have better things. And, you know, relationships are a struggle for everybody. I think that we've all probably are guilty of some point in life of not appreciating our partner for things that they may have done or haven't done. Um, and I feel like if you're working, you're always becoming better. So you can always learn, you know, that some days, those ordinary days, like she said, are the peaceful days. You don't always, like, sometimes there's days where I'm gonna go 24/7. I'll leave at 7 a.m., don't touch home till midnight. And then it's like the days that I'm sitting around watching a movie on a Sunday, drinking hot cocoa. Sometimes my brain starts racing, and just I'm not even appreciative for that moment of just being able to relax and put my feet up, because I'm always focused on something else. And, you know, I'm learning to be more appreciative, because there are people, like she was saying, that wake up, that don't wake up tomorrow. They may wake up with a illness. And I don't have any of those currently. So I'm grateful for the health that I have today, you know, and I just feel like that it's just things that sometimes you get caught up in other things that really don't mean as much as the things that you should be focused on. And that's where we start losing the appreciation for things. Um, and I'm gonna land with that.
Give me an example of some how you appreciate it today.
I appreciated being able to wake up this morning, open my eyes, take a shower. I was appreciative that I was able to hear my son say, "Mom, I don't know what outfit to pick for school." I mean, there's multiple things. I was appreciated for walking into a job knowing that, I have a job to go to that pays me well, that helps take care of my family. I was not appreciated for this damn 1,000 pounds of rain that I had to walk out of work into and get soaked. But then on the side end, I was like, well, then we'd be in a drought if we didn't have no rain. So now I have to appreciate the freaking rainstorm that's outside. um, but I'm grateful that I'm able to feed my family every day. I'm grateful that we have running water, electricity, things that again you think is a necessity. So sometimes you lack that appreciation. Like I haven't ate all day, but I was appreciative that my son is ate already and my family is ate already. So those are just some of the things that I've been grateful for today. And I'm grateful that I am not angry today.
Sunny Moon, how do you appreciate today without constantly waiting for tomorrow? And give me an example of how you appreciate it today or how you appreciate it other today.
I usually acknowledge like nature around me. So if I hear a bird, I kind of stop and listen. If I see clouds, I kind of see if there's any figures in the clouds. I kind of just acknowledge my surroundings to give me base to like my life, like giving me space in my brain that, we're always on the go. So just giving me knowledge like this is what we're here for. This is what I'm doing this all for. Really shit, that's really it. Like I literally do that all the way till I fall asleep, to be honest. Like I feel like the moon follows me. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll see that moon stays in my window, my doors. Like I feel like the moon follows me where I go. I look in the sky, like it's always everywhere. It's always following me. Like I'm always appreciative. Like it's another day, another breath, another way I could be better for myself. Even if I wasn't better for myself that day, I still have another choice when I wake up to be another person, to be another me, another version. So just acknowledging the nature around me gives me, fresh air to my brain, to my body. And an example, what was my example? Give an acknowledgement. Hug a tree, you guys. Hug a tree. I land.
Dider, how do you appreciate today without constantly waiting for tomorrow? And give me an example how you've appreciated today or other todays.
How do I appreciate today without waiting for tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
In recovery, they have a bunch of pamphlets. I forgot which. Damn, I hate that part. I forgot which pamphlet it was, but it's my favorite one, so that's awkward too. Because it's my favorite, but I forgot about it. But it talks about your past, how you can stop regretting your the positive and negative ways that you can deal with timing. So your past, a negative way would be regret. It already happened, so you should have acceptance. Future would be fear. That's a negative way. The positive way would be faith that things are going to happen. And your present is a gift. You know what I mean? So to me, when I acknowledge that, sometimes I go sit in my backyard and play on my game, you know what I mean? And look at the back. It's not the biggest backyard in history, but I do accept where I came from. When I got here, when I got to where we live at now in Kentucky, I was living in a recovery house. I thought I was going to be coming to get a job at the recovery house, and my cousin put me in the recovery house to live there. I smoked weed. I wasn't no crackhead, nigga. I was like, what the fuck I'm doing in the recovery house? What am I even doing in recovery? I just came to get this money. I seen everybody wearing jewelry and shit. I wanted some jewelry and some money. So I knew I was going to put up a front for a little bit, but I didn't take recovery serious at that time. But when I'm sitting in my backyard and I'm looking at the fact I'm near, that I have a backyard to sit in, it's funny because when I was in the recovery house, I remember these motherfuckers ate my muffins, and I was so pissed off. I was so pissed. I had bought. It was some intimate muffins, the party mix kind. They so soft when you get them fresh. Oh my god! I had bought them and put them in the cabinet, and I had went to the store that day and bought some hot chocolate because I knew I was going to drink my hot chocolate and eat my muffins. I had this whole sit down planned, and when I went to go in the cabinet, the muffin box was empty. The first box. So I said, "Oh, I had bought 2 boxes." I said, "Oh, them niggas got me for the rest." I had ate one of them. I said, "Oh, they got me for the." They took the. I wasn't even tight really like that. I was like, "Yeah, you know what it is." So I go to grab the second box, and that box was fucking empty too. Why the fuck would you leave 2 empty boxes in a fucking cabinet? What is
You just
wrong
said
with
you ate the first box though.
No, I ate one out the first box. It was like a box
Copy.
of like
Copy, all right.
3 or 4.
I
Why
got
would you
All
leave
right.
the whole fucking empty box in there? Like I was ready. I remember I called my sponsor, or my sponsor called me. He called me on some just check in. I don't even know. He was just checking in on the check in time, and I was telling him about how I wanted to fucking beat they fucking ass, and I'm about to curse everybody out. I'm about to put a note on the fucking. They had like a note board. I was about to put a note on the note board, telling everybody whoever ate my muffins sucked dick and all of that. And I remember I said to them, all they had to do was ask. I said, that's all he had to do was ask. I would have gave it to him. He said, so pretend like they asked. And I was like, why would I say if the only issue is they didn't ask, then just act like they asked. Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, I hate this nigga. I love that nigga now, but I hated him because he pissed me the fuck off because I was like, what the fuck you mean? So it's like, wherever you are, you can accept where you've been. It's not about like harping on it in a negative way. You can accept where you've been, but you probably not where you was. Things have advanced. And because of that advancement, that advance takes appreciation because it took struggle. It took work. It took work. And you might not, you might not be where you want to be or where you going to be, but you where you are now. And the thing about your journey is you're going to have to walk it, whether you're going to walk it with a pout or a smile. That's your option. Are you going to work your journey with a pout or are you going to walk it with a smile? How you going to walk it? You got to decide that. And I have decided to walk it with a smile. Am I ever down? I mean, no. Yes and no. Life's a roller coaster. So even when you down, you preparing for up. And I think that, I used to listen to motivational speakers every day when I would wake up, and they would set the tone. You got to set the tone. It's things that I've learned in life that says, don't let a moment ruin an hour. I did that. I let 1 second ruin an hour or hours. I stubbed my toe and now my day is ruined. Nigga, you stub your toe, it's life. Your whole day is fucked up. You want to sit in a fucked up day? Why do you want to? You don't know if you're going to die tomorrow. You going to let this be a fucked up day? My mother dying, I think about that. I wasted so much time in that area. It brings value to time. And what you want to do and what you want to be arguing about and what you want to complain about. And I'm not complaining. I know I'm not perfect. I know life is not perfect, but I'm definitely blessed. I'm blessed. We here, we doing a podcast. Ain't nobody doing this, from their car, unless they taking a drive or some shit. Everybody chilling. And I'm gonna end on this, but I'm gonna say this to you. One thing I learned also in recovery was the easiest thing to confuse is peace and boredom. They're so easy to be confused. You thinking, damn, I'm bored. Because it ain't boring when your lights is off. You can't be bored with the lights off. Or you some type of real bum. No offense to anybody, you know what I mean? They can't watch this anyway, the lights is off. But if you in the dark, you can't be bored in the dark. You can't be bored when you ain't got food in your refrigerator or no money to go get nothing to eat. That's not boring. You thinking about how can I go get some damn food? We gonna start tonight. You're not bored. But when you got food in your refrigerator, you'll say you bored. Nah, you at peace. It ain't boring when they knocking on your door telling you got to get out for you got 2 days to move. That's not boring. But when your rent paid, you would say you bored. No, you at peace. Don't confuse that. Don't confuse your boredom with peace. Because when you bored, you know what we do when we bored? We create something to end the boredom. And it makes sense because I'm fucking bored. So why would not do something to make sure I don't be bored no more? Almost like kids, whether it's negative or positive. I just don't want to be fucking bored. So I'm going to go curse somebody the fuck out. I'm going to go make a stupid ass post on Facebook because I'm bored. But if you told yourself I'm at peace, that's kind of harder to want to fuck up. Who wants to fuck up peace? But Trump. I'm joking. But nah, you know, I'm just making. Fuck politics. No offense to that guy. But who want to? Yeah, right. I'm just joking. I don't have no problem with nobody. But who wants to fuck up peace? It's harder to fuck up, but you will fuck up boredom. So I think that's the biggest thing. Your words, the words you use, and things like that. Those are the beginnings to the foundation to living a better life. What did I do for appreciation today? I went and got my hair done. That appreciation counts because somebody put me on the show. I last year I was outside every fucking day. Somebody was telling a joke on stage. This year I've been in the house doing the podcast, only doing shows. Only if I got a show I'm going to do. And somebody put me on a roast battle on Saturday up in Ohio, Madison. I've never even been there. But I'm appreciative for that. So the way I'm going to show my appreciation for the roast battle, I got clothes, I got my hair done, I got my face shaped up. I'm going to, look my best for them to roast me, which is really awkward. And the nigga I'm about to roast, I don't think he ever looked his best in his life. Like his best is his worst. But my appreciation is to the person who got me the job or the opportunity, and we're supposed to get paid for it too. Anytime I get paid to do my dream, I'm appreciative. I ain't making Kevin Hart money. I ain't famous. So anytime somebody says, "Oh, we giving you $100 to tell some to talk to you niggas," y'all about to pay. I ain't ET. I fuck with ET. Shout out to Every Thomas, but I'm at peace. And I'm thankful for that. So that's my answer to that. I'll end with that.
Respectful. Cool Billy.
Yeah, that was a long ass fucking. Y'all niggas don't know how to stand in color the lines of PS40. That's what I can see. I can see the niggas told y'all niggas that. Niggas did not stay in the lines with the fucking crayons.
I don't think you're being appreciative for our words right now.
Yeah. I was talking to y'all been over. This nigga. The PS40 nigga. This nigga is just nigga was on the podium. All right, hey, jeez.
How do you
I forgot the question.
Today?
I just was waiting patiently. See what happens when I don't mute up, when I mute up? All right, don't worry. I'm not going to mute anymore. I'm done. I'm here.
You in the building?
I'm here. I'm in the building.
Play? All right. How do you
when you go to
appreciate...
PS50, you can't help but be in the building because ain't no way to play outside.
How do you appreciate today without constantly waiting for tomorrow? And give me an example how you appreciate it today.
Man, you wake up, open my eyes, man. You know what I'm saying? I got real life homeboys that didn't make it this age. You know what I'm saying? So, no, yeah, real one. So, yeah, that's what I do. Hop out this motherfucker and put the foot on the throttle all the way every day for my niggas.
Street landed.
Yeah.
Respectfully, man. Yeah, I want to highlight everything y'all said. I heard workout. Shout out to Sunny Moon. She had to jump out the plane a little early. Shout out to you. Thanks for flying out with us. Sitting at the park watching the animals. I heard son saying mom, tree hugging, sitting in the backyard getting their hair done and waking up. Mine's is nature walks. Not so much nature walks, but getting up and going and being able to take a little. My driveway is like a good little about a minute. So it takes about, you feel me, a good little 5 minute walk. And it always feels good to get up, take that walk, let the dogs out. They running, doing their thing, and I'm, putting my affirmations into the world. I'm hoping them bitches, boomerang and ricochet back. So that's what how I appreciate my days daily. All right, let's move on to N. Notice the good before it becomes a memory. Well, hold on, what time is it? Make sure we on time, on schedule. Notice the good before it becomes a memory. Life moves fast. That's why gratitude requires attention, because tomorrow doesn't come with a receipt for today. My question to y'all is, how can parents, we're going to switch this one up a little bit. How can parents teach children to appreciate experiences instead of possessions? We're going to start with Dirk.
How can parents teach kids to appreciate experiences instead of possessions?
Yes, sir.
By going through it with them. It is like a lead, is a follow the leader type situation. We appreciate possessions too much. So it's like when we start showing our son or our daughters, hey, let's go do this together. I remember my baby girl. She 20 now. She moved out. We didn't have our ups and downs. You know what I mean? She get it from her mother. She's a headache. You know what I mean? So, but before she was gone, she came back. I took her to the movies. You know what I mean? And sat there and watched the movie with her. I did fall asleep in the movies. But however, it was just nice taking her out to the movies. Took her out to eat. Took her to the movies, and that's an experience. Even though I fell asleep, you know what I mean. It might seem like I didn't appreciate the experience. It gives it a funny story now. Remember, Dad took me to the movies, and he fell asleep. We was in the mall, me and her. I forgot what I was getting. Maybe some sneakers or something. I forgot. It was around Christmas or something. Maybe we was. Oh yeah, it was around Christmas. I think we were shopping for Mom, and we took some pictures with Santa Claus. You know what I mean? We got those pictures. So it's just about having experiences with them, and letting them know how much it means to you to have that. Because you can sit there and talk about how much you love your sneakers, how much you love your car, but letting them know, I got pictures of my son in my mirror. I got pictures of my mother. I got pictures of my daughter. You know what I'm saying? So it's like those things, it shows you, yo, I appreciate you. Good, bad, or indifference, I really appreciate you. Having those conversations, letting them know. I'm happy about the experiences I've been able to experience you. I let you know when I was telling my son I didn't get that many clothes in school. It wasn't to make him feel bad. It was to let him know that I want you not about the clothes or the material of it. It's about that I'm trying to change your experience over mine because I appreciate the experience you're gonna have in school. I know that when I was going to school, I told you I got gigged on because of my clothes. That just gave me another reason to keep cutting, you know? And telling them your memories and telling them things you did. I had my own religion at the school. So I could wear a hat. I did that.
I know.
But they found out about it. I had brought a letter and all of that to get them to officiate it, but they did it. But just let them know how valuable it is, how much you appreciate. I liked what LaShonda was saying. I don't know if I'm gonna do a 3-hour dinner with my kids, but I'm definitely going to take that pause and trying to make sure at least once a week, because that's what I had with my mother. We didn't do every night, but with my mother, once a week we sat down and ate dinner together. And I'm definitely going to try to apply that more to my son now. Try to at least give him that once, and maybe Sunday. That's what me and my mother always did it. Sunday. We always sat out on Sunday and we would kind of recap the week. This is what happened this week. A lot of times I'd be lying because I was cutting school and shit. So I'd be telling her about all the shit that happened in the school I ain't even go to. However, I'm willing to, I'm gonna sit down and try to make those making the experiences, carrying them do, and letting them know how much you appreciate it. And that's what I'm gonna land with that.
How can parents teach children to appreciate experiences instead of possessions, Shonda?
There we go. I am a holiday person. Big time holiday person. I like things to celebrate. So, and it's not that I'm a material person. I'm just a holiday person. So I like donut day. I like hot dog day. The other day was s'more day. Like I'm like that kind of person. Like everything, it's like, finding fun in the little things. So for me, with the kids, one, we did it because of necessity. They didn't know that at the time, but we had 6 kids in the house that we were raising, and it was like, I can't buy Christmas gifts for all 6 of these kids. Like they range from elementary school to high school, and there was no way we were going to be able to do that. So we had come up with a tradition where everybody picks a name out of a hat. And plus, I'm not a shopping person, so let me say that too. I don't like going to the mall. I don't like shopping. So I was like, I'm not taking every kid to the store shopping for Christmas presents, all of that. I'm just not doing it. So we came up with the idea. You put everybody's name in the hat, and you pick out your brothers and sisters' names, and you have to make it. Sort of fashioned off Kwanzaa because we celebrate Kwanzaa too. But and you had to make the gift, which one saved me from running to the store for 6 different kids, buying everybody a gift and all this other stuff. And you just had to make a gift for that one person. And you couldn't tell them who it was for, whatever. But everyone in the house did that. And we did that all the way up until the kids, were out of the house kind of thing. And that was one of the things we did. One, because it created an experience, because every time the kids opened a gift that somebody else made for them, the person explained it like, well, why did you make me that? Or why? But a lot of times they got it because we had an artist in the house. So he would draw people's favorite characters and they loved it and framed it. And, my oldest son still has his in the room that, his brother made for him and stuff like that. And I would always like do something for them, crochet something or scarves or whatever the case is for the kids and make it. And we also, my grandmother taught me years ago, she used to give everybody baked goods. She was a caterer. So every other year I make, tens of different cookies and all that kind of stuff and bars and all that and give to our neighbors and people that, are godparents, all that kind of stuff. And the kids would help me. So that would be another experience we created. And then as the kids got older, we asked the question, like, do you want gifts or do you want to travel? And our kids wanted to travel. So they did the one handmade gift, and every other year we traveled for Christmas. And we didn't buy gifts. But my kids can remember every single Christmas. Like most of us don't remember what we got 2 Christmases ago or whatever the case is. But my kids can remember, "Oh yeah, I remember when I went to Florida. Oh yeah, I remember when I went to Virginia. Oh yeah, I remember when I went to Pennsylvania." All these different things because it was an experience. And so our family prided ourselves on the experience with each other versus the material things. And now they have stories, like we just took them away to, not last year, the year before, we took the 20 some year olds away because we hadn't done that in a while, and we took them away for Christmas, and they were like, "Oh, I remember when I was a kid and we did this," and they were talking and hung out together, and it was just a wonderful experience. And it wasn't about gifts. Our kids did buy us gifts, which they never have to, but they chose to because they like to do it. But it was really about the experience, and our kids talked about that, and they brought their partners, girlfriends, boyfriends, and they got to experience that with us, and they shared about how that meant something to them growing up and how they appreciated those experiences that we tried to create, even if it was hot dog day or St. Patrick's Day. Like, we're not Irish, as far as I know. We're not Irish, but I would make them green oatmeal on St. Patrick's Day, so they had that. They woke up in the morning and their oatmeal was green. It was just like those little things to kind of create an experience that they would laugh about or joke about, that they could do later on. And sometimes I think we think of the big things, and sometimes it is the little things that we can kind of do with our kids to create something special. It doesn't have to be expensive or labor intensive either. But I'm a big day. We were always at Cow Day when we ate meat and, dressed up like cows as a family and went into Chick-fil-A's and, all those little things that are like geeky, hokey, but the kids remember it, and it's the things that I think they treasure, from what they're telling me now, that they treasure a lot. So I'll land with that.
That's dope. That's dope. I said, you're not black. I was muted. I said, you're not black Irish?
Not that I know of. I could be, I'm a slave master, so who knows?
Respectfully. Reese Mula, how can parents teach children to appreciate experiences instead of possessions?
I think it's just, again, about creating different experiences with your kids and being present for small things. Like, I used to hate when people came in the kitchen when I was cooking, like my kids. And then it brought me back to a memory of my grandmother. She was a cook, and she used to always be like, "No, you can't." And then as she got older, she used to allow me to come into the kitchen and watch her do things. So when I'm cooking, if my son comes in, he's like, "Hey, Mom, I want to help," I let him do small things that, I feel are safe. I don't want him cutting nothing with a knife or nothing like that. But, wash the vegetable, or, rinse the whatever off, or so I create the experience of letting him participate in it. And I think that builds a bond as well. And I think that, like, we sometimes will have, he always say, "Can I come watch a movie with my parents?" Half the time, him and his dad fall asleep, and I'm the one that stays up watching the movie. But it's those small things, like, "Oh, Mom, we're going to have popcorn for a movie." So I think it's the smaller things. It doesn't always have to be something materialistic. Like, you don't have to go out and do something. It can be something in your own house that you create a tradition on. So, like, we had a traditional breakfast growing up for Thanksgiving and Christmas as a family. And I remember it for years. Like, that's every Christmas, Thanksgiving, that was something my grandmother prepared. So I make it for my kids, and it's those little things. He participates in helping me do that. And he'll always say, "Mom, this is what you had when you were younger, right?" So I think that it's, sometimes we think about, oh, we have to go out and we have to do things um, outside of our own house that creates those experiences, but it's the little things that you do in your house. Like I taught him how to use the washer. It's like little experiences like that that you are grateful for. And he'll be like, Mom, can we make ice cream sundae? I was the one, that was quirky like LaShonda, like every school thing for every holiday. We were making like, I remember Valentine's Day, we made little robot juice boxes for Valentine's Day instead of just going to the store and buying like the Valentine's Day cards. Um, so it's like doing those small things like Easter egg coloring. I don't like coloring Easter eggs at all. I hate it. It's a mess. It just drives me insane. You don't even eat the eggs half the time. But I realized that it's the experience and creating that memory together that, we made Soli and Mike one year's for Monster Inc. And I still have the picture on my phone. And my son always talks about those two specific Easter eggs that we made. Carving pumpkins. It's like the small things that you're creating that memory. I mean, I don't carve pumpkins anymore. I'm too old for it. I don't have time. But I learned that some of the things that my grandmother did with me, because we didn't grow up with money, that I brought into my children. And I think that you being present is better than any gift that they can get. And, my son loves playing this game. Sometimes I'll go in there and be like, hey, bud, what are you doing? Just so I'm showing interest in something he likes. And he'll be like, Mom, look how cool my character is. And I just let him talk about his character, show me all his mods to his character. But I definitely think it's the small things that you can do at home. You don't have to go out and spend $1,000 million to do it. We went and seen Spider-Man. Was it last week or the weekend before? We went and seen Spider-Man, and he got to experience like the chair that vibrates and moves as you're sitting in it in 3D. And it was just so cute because as we're sitting there and it starts going, he's like, whoa, Mom. And it was like, he'll remember that experience of riding in that chair thing at the movie theater. So I think it's you being present and wanting to create those experiences. Like there's parents that don't do that. They go to work, their kids come home, they don't talk, they just kind of like are civil in the same house. But I think that I let him help, Dirt doesn't really celebrate holidays as much as like I grew up celebrating Christmas. Like it was something that was a big thing in our house. You always got a tree, you always decorated it, you had your own special ornaments. So like we put up a Christmas tree. I let him participate in that. Like we'll go pick out an ornament every year and I let him pick out the ornament. Like we have a family ornament with all your little names on it and different characters or whatever. So I really think it's just the presence and learning that you teach them without materialistic things. And then they're more grateful for those experiences than if you're constantly just doing it as a materialistic thing. And I'm gonna with that.
Rightfully. Cool, Billy. How do we hold on 1 second, my bad. How do parents teach children to appreciate experiences instead of possessions?
Example. Just doing stuff with it. What LaShonda said, just doing things with them. Having to witness the things, enjoying it, not just doing it, but enjoying. And then they will catch on as well.
Land it. You landed?
I landed that. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I agree with all of y'all, man. Don't let the camera be your memory. You feel me? Those are good ways to keep memories. However, the best ways are to make them. Life is not a DVR. Some of your best moments, you won't be able to rewind them. Because like you said, sitting at the park, doing nature walks, hugging trees, just waking up. These are the moments that, you feel me? Certain moments you can't get it back. So you just have to be in the moment and to allow your children, have their heart in it to where, like I said, it will play back in their mind when they don't have that picture. It's because it was something heartfelt, something that connected on a different level. So yeah, I definitely agree with what y'all was saying. What's the time? Top of the hour yet? Almost. We could go into one more, then we could go to commercial break. Or how y'all feeling out there? Y'all all right?
Yeah.
Y'all good?
We're
Yep.
good.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one more, then we got commercial break. You at home, man. I appreciate you. You already know what to do. Let me see you in the comment section. This thing applies to you too, man. I want to hear your answers. All right, let's go to K. Keep perspective without comparing pain. I'm thankful for what I still have while I work through what I don't. My question to y'all would be, I got two of them, but I was trying to see which one would be the best one. I'll do this one. How do you gain perspective without, how do you gain perspective without dismissing your own struggles? We're gonna start with you, Dirt.
How do I gain perspective for who?
Uh, for who?
Yeah, who do
You at?
I'm trying to gain perspective for myself
Yeah,
without you said. And I say it again.
without dismissing your own struggles.
Uh, I think the thing is to be appreciative about struggles. That's what I think. Um, Everything that might seem like something that's bad now, over time, it'll be worth it. You know, I remember when we was living in Charlotte, we eventually lost that house, and when we lost that, we had a bad fucking apartment. That apartment was the worst apartment ever. They ended up shutting the whole complex down and remodeling the whole complex. They didn't have a lot of roaches and shit, but I remember the electricity cut off out of nowhere one time, just like, and it was paid, kind of fake. So it was really bad. But we ended up getting opportunity to move into a 3-bedroom house, and we had a nice backyard, and it was nice neighborhood for the most part. And we lost that house, and I remember thinking I was just so sad because I was like, man, we lost that fucking house. Like you know what I mean? We didn't own it, we was renting it, but still it felt like ours. You know what I mean? We had been there, I was making plans for the future. You know, we was gonna be in this house forever, and we lost it. However, now we have another house too. Still written, don't own one yet. Plan is to own one, hopefully soon. But still, without us losing that house, things would have never conspired that got us here. Without, when things are, I hate to always quote things I learned in recovery, but it's been very informational. One of the abbreviations for God is the gift of desperation. And when you get the gift of desperation, that's where change comes. If things are going good, I don't know about for you, but for me, I'm not about to change. Shit is working. What are we changing? Why are we changing it? It doesn't make sense at that point. So I think that you learn that when things are going bad, like I said, that's when I can change, and that's when I can grow and be better. You know what I mean? Like, I fake hated dogs. You know what I'm saying? I fake never wanted a dog. And then now I got a dog, and I love my dog. I love her. Love her. I love Chanel. She's a good dog. She's potty trained. She just was scratching on the door right now to go to the bathroom. That's what she does when she gotta go to the bathroom. She goes at the door, And her son was over here, and he bit her nipple, and it got infected because she bit the nipple trying to suck the milk out. Because this is a grown ass dog. This ain't a baby dog no more, but he know that's his mother. So he trying to suck milk out her titty and got her sick, and we had to go get her fixed and all of that. And when I thought that she wasn't gonna get better, you know, even though I'm optimistic, I was sad, you know. But I'm happy that it happened because it made me more appreciative of actually even having her. Now I appreciate her. The things that I didn't think I cared about, I realized, damn, she just laying there. She usually come over here and give us a hug, you know. What's going on? Now she going to the bathroom, she coming right back. She's back getting back to herself. So I think that if anything that brings you down or doesn't bring you down, it's an opportunity for you to be more appreciative when things are back up. So I think that's the best way to look at it. Like, it's like, you don't have to, you don't want to value your downs because you want to give value to the thing, but also to some extent, don't completely be mad at it. There's some value in it because is what push things forward. And I land with that.
Respectfully, Lashonda, how do you gain perspective without dismissing your own struggles?
I think you have to take the wisdom from the struggle. Um, there's a lot of times we go through something. I always ask myself why. What did I do? I'm always looking at me because I'm always the cause of something going on in my life. So I'm always willing to take responsibility for that. Like, okay, what did I do? I'm not a person at this moment in my life to say, well, you did this or you did that. If I do that, then people know something's wrong with me. I'm always looking at, okay, I'm in this situation. How did I get myself in this situation? What did I do? What did I create? What energy was I sending out to even be in this situation? That's probably the first question I'm going to ask myself. What was I doing to put myself in this situation? So I think for me, I don't dismiss the struggles I've gone through in my life. I use them as lessons because I do believe we're just here to learn. And so I've got to gain the wisdom from that particular struggle. So that's how I don't, kind of dismiss the struggle, is really talking about the struggle, saying, hey, I went through this, not so that you feel bad for me or pity for me or whatever the case is. What I want you to get is the lesson. What I want you to get is the wisdom that I gained from that situation. I went through this or that or whatever the case is. It's like, okay, I went through it, but what did I do to get out of it? Or what did I learn from that so that I don't keep repeating that over and over again? Because that's what I think happens is we get stuck. We get stuck in the same old thing. And I've been there, trust me. I've been in my life where you feel like you're dating the same person, different name, or you're doing certain things and it's just over and over again. And that's why I'm always looking at me now, because it's not the other people, it's always me. So it's like, how do I learn from that? What did I do? What was I sending out? What was the trigger, the wound, whatever I was operating from that got me into this situation? So that for me is how I kind of deal with that struggle, is looking at like, okay, I went through this. What do I need to know? What do I need to learn from? What wisdom can I take from this? And now how do I apply it so that I don't go through the same struggle again? Because I know I'm going to go through new ones, but I just don't want to repeat the same patterns, and the same struggle over and over again and not learn the lesson that I need to learn. And I think for some people, they get caught in their struggle and they tell the same story. They speak it. You might have gone through something, but if you keep speaking it like it's happening today, you keep calling it back into your life and you keep asking for more and more of that. And you have to figure out, okay, what role did I play? Instead of playing the victim, most of our society sits in victim mode. you know, Things are always happening to them. Like they had no responsibility, no part, and they don't know where things came from because they're not self aware enough. They don't
Yeah.
spend enough time getting to know themselves and looking at their patterns, their behaviors, how they went through the red flags, how they had that tap on the shoulder that told them don't do it. Their gut made them feel like, nah, you shouldn't be there. And they disregarded all those things. Um, and they went and did it anyway. So, I think the key is to really look at yourself and gain the wisdom from that particular struggle. Honor the struggle because it taught you something if you used it in that way. If you used it properly as a learning lesson, then it taught you something and made, I think Reese said at one time we were in an episode, it made you who you are today. You know, it made you who you are today. So value that, appreciate that, especially if you like who you are. Value that and appreciate that. If it did something negative to you, well, then it did something negative, so switch it and fix it. You have the power to change you, and you just need to do that. So I'll end with that.
Respectfully, Reese Moolah, bring it home. How do you gain perspective without dismissing your own struggles?
I think that kind of what Lashana was saying was you have to accept the struggle and then broaden your view to see that your life is much bigger than that tiny moment that you're having in that struggle. And sometimes you have to look at that struggle and be like, hey, is this a struggle that is just today? Is it a struggle that's going to be a week long, years long, months long? And look at how you can use that struggle to grow. And sometimes people use struggles to hold them back. They're living in it instead of looking at the end of it. A lot of times, and by no means am I perfect, I'm a lot better now than I was probably a month ago. I pause on how I react to things. And it might look like a struggle that is going to be a long-term struggle. And sometimes when I pause that initial reaction and I play it all the way out, I'm able to find a better solution to that struggle than if I just initially reacted. Sometimes it's been to my detriment that, I hold things in so long before I address it, before I deal with it, that it ends up making that minor struggle into something that's way bigger now. And I'm somebody who reacts before I even think. So I'm working on learning to think and play things through before I react to them. And sometimes that's what you have to do with a struggle. How can you get to the end of it? If I immediately react to that struggle, I might make the struggle worse than if I take a step back, look at the bigger picture, and take the stepping stone. Sometimes, and what I learned too is that I have to look at other people and realize that what I may think is a struggle is not really a struggle. And it's just something that it's a mild little bump in the road that you got to get over. And I'm learning because I'm a firm believer in that you learn every day if you're willing and open to it. That a lot of my struggles have made me a better person. If I didn't go through any struggles, then my perspective would be completely different than it is now. And I think that sometimes we look at a perspective from one view and not multiple views. And I feel like that you don't have to dismiss a struggle and act like it never occurred in order to be like a perfect person. No one's perfect. Everybody's had their struggles in their life. But that's kind of like what Lashana, are you going to allow it to define you? Are you going to allow it to hold you back? Do the work, get over the struggle, and learn to not repeat that struggle. And then that's one struggle that you don't have to worry about anymore because you learned how to deal with it and you moved past that. What's the next struggle? You're going to struggle in different ways. You're going to struggle financially, mentally, emotionally, physically. There's many things that you can struggle with. So today's struggle might not look like tomorrow's struggle. And I really feel like that the more that you step back and view it and then just confront it head on, your perspective is going to be completely different. And I'm going to land with that.
Respectfully. I forgot to say it was it was what were you on? N? I think it was on
We're on K.
oh yeah,
Okay.
K. So I think it was on N. I appreciate your transparency. Where we at? How to gain perspective without dismissing your own struggle? I agree with y'all. I think some people come from comparison. That's why they complain because he has it worse, or he like you was saying he has the Benz or they has a thing. Stop coming from comparison and competition. There's nothing wrong with competition because we all got to compete in this world. So there's nothing wrong with competition. I'm not saying that. It's the thing that you need to do for yourself is zoom out, take yourself out the situation, zoom out and see, oh, it's not as worse as I thought, or you may not be off the course that you think that you feel me. You're not taken by seeing this little struggle in the thing. So you zoom out, and by seeing somebody else's position, your struggle, you feel me, as worse or as the other. However, you not comparing yourself and seeing it from yourself, and you still can follow and do what you have to do, stay on course. Because like I said, you're not trying to compare yourself to somebody who's either worse, greater, or whatever. Just take yourself out the comparison mode and see what do you still have? Where are you still going? Are you still on the course? Don't let that impede, you feel me, somebody else's struggle impede the struggle that you gotta learn from what you're going through and continue the course, man. Marathon continues, man. Y'all all
You
right
just
out
made
there?
me think of something quick. My grandmother used to always tell me, compete with yourself and don't compete with others. And I never understood what she was saying until I got older. And when you just said that, it just kind of like brought it back. Like, if you compete with yourself, you're always trying to be a better version of yourself.
Respectful.
And when you just said that, you like competition, there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, compete with yourself. Compete on how you can be better tomorrow.
Like that. On that note, we're gonna go to commercial. We're gonna be what we are. Okay, we got one more, man. We're gonna come back with S. We're gonna wrap this thing up. Appreciate you viewing, whether you on Facebook. Eventually, man, you're gonna have to come on over to YouTube, man. 30's channel, Della News Show. And if you on Twitch and Kick, y'all gonna have to eventually come on over to Facebook. But I appreciate your support, man. It means a lot. Like, share, subscribe. Definitely hype me up. You already know.
This is BK.
Mike Payne.
Carly.
34 and a half. Hot boy Shay. Tyrell. And I play Tyrell.
And Monica.
Jay.
Asu.
Mo.
Big Prince in that series Make Some Noise.
You gon' hear me now, feel me now. I'm 10 toes, no small talk, straight to the pen.
Throughout the season, you see him going through where in the beginning he wanted to just do his music and work a regular 9 to 5, but as things continue to happen to him, he has to respond to the environments that he gets put in.
Whoa. Damn. Nah, fucked up, cuz. Yo, my bad, bro. Where the fuck was you at anyway? I was trying to get a little bottle or something, type of weapon that even the odds, it was more than us. A lot of people called me and was like, when they see me, I like to say I retreated, which is something people do in war all the time. They retreat to, regroup. Another word I like to use when I think about that scene. People thought I was like, punani.
Nigga, you must not know who the fuck I am, nigga. This my city. Y'all beat his ass. Get up, bitch ass. You ain't talking niggas. We outside.
I had people say, you just being you. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't no bully though. I ain't no bully, but yeah, don't take me there, bro. But other than that, yeah, just I'm that nigga, and I definitely feel like I'm that nigga. You supposed to feel like that, you feel me? Yeah.
Damn, she fine as hell. What the fuck you doing with this bum ass nigga? Might well come to my section.
Nigga, I wouldn't give you the time of day if you paid for it. Like she's a really she's a good person at heart. I just think she's in the wrong career field. You'd be surprised what type of men I see on a daily. Oh, what? That make you nervous? You scared?
Nah, not even.
I think you kind of see her go from a stable person to just kind of really wanting to hold on to a relationship that probably does need to end.
Excuse me? It's been a few days with who? Who you been working with? And who are you about to compare me to?
I'm just tired.
No.
I need to get some rest.
No, let's talk about it. Who are you about to compare me to?
Nobody.
Was it the girl that dropped you off? Yeah. I saw that person drop you off. Who the fuck was that?
One friend that, everybody try to keep around in life, that's still, doing the normal things, having a job, taking care of bills.
No, I ain't got much, man, but I know I can only $2.
Nah, man, you ain't have to do that.
Man, look, bullshit. You know what I mean? It's your dream, man. You're my boy. Plus, I gotta make sure you give me a shout out, man, when you get your Grammy. I gotta make sure I contribute to your dream, man.
Go watch I'm So Tyrell, Make Some Noise on YouTube. Go watch it now. It's on YouTube now. Now we get a licensing deal and they tell us to take it off. You won't be seeing it and you'll be mad because it's on some sort of platform. So you getting first dibs to watch it before anybody. As we create it, we load it up and you get to watch it.
And you can go watch it right now. Go rush over there. Tell them Land Your Plane sent you in the comment section. You heard me? Make some noise.
You get to check that out yet, LaShonda? You get to watch it yet? When you get a chance, man, watch. I acted in it, so please check it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the link. Send you the link.
Okay.
I come in the third episode, and I'm in every episode after that. I got some, I got my acting on. I felt like Denzel. You know what I mean?
Respectfully, definitely patronize all my patrons. Tap in. Last one, ladies and gentlemen. Are y'all all right?
We're good.
Yes.
Do it. We made it to S. Share gratitude. Don't just store it. Gratitude becomes more powerful when it leaves your head and enters your behavior. My last question to y'all. What can you give that costs nothing? We're going to start with LaShonda.
Yourself. I think that's the most valuable gift, is giving yourself. Depending on how you grew up or what you grew up or what people told you, I work with a lot of people who feel like they're nothing and they don't have worth and they don't have value because they've made so many mistakes in their life. But that's not true. That's not true at all. The best thing that you can share in life is yourself. You are the gift. You're unique. You're the only person just like you. Nobody else can be you. Nobody else can do things exactly the way that you do them. And I think if you have somebody in your life, whether you really know them, don't really know them, but when you share yourself, you share your time with someone, and I mean really be present, it does something. It changes them. Because a lot of times, and especially here in the United States, people always don't have time for people. They're always too busy. Nobody stops and talks or listens to you or whatever. And if you give somebody a couple of minutes, you don't know how much that can impact or change their day, change their direction, change what they were actually going to do. Because someone took the time to say, hey, you're important enough for me to stop, for me to pause. So I think sometimes sharing yourself, which is the gifts that you have, maybe it's listening, maybe it's making somebody laugh, maybe it's making somebody smile, whatever it is. Teaching someone just to wait, pause, take a breath. Just those little things can change the whole trajectory of somebody's day, of what somebody thinks about themselves. So I think you giving yourself and then sharing your wisdom with people what you've learned, um, what you know, the lessons that you've learned. We have to hopefully we're moving into a place where we start to share that more and not share the other stuff on social media, like,
Yeah,
people
I agree.
standing in front of the cars, people standing in front of the houses and the things, all the things, right?
The material.
Yeah, all of that. Like, we stop sharing that and we start sharing something of substance and saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm not perfect. Hey, you know what? I made a mistake and here's what I learned, and I don't want you to go through the same mistake I went through." And really mean that, not the commercials that are out there with the gurus wanting you to spend thousands of dollars on their program. I'm not talking about that
Mhm.
because they're like, learn from my mistakes and blah, 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 all that yelling nonsense. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real people just sharing that, you know what, I'm having a really hard time today. And here's what I'm doing about it. Here's how I'm getting through it. So that can help somebody else. I've never really found a picture of somebody standing in front of a car. I'm not a car person, but standing in front of a car or a house ever did anything for me, ever changed the trajectory of my day. Just made me scroll faster, but it never did anything for me. It wasn't a gift. But somebody sharing, hey, you know what? I made this mistake and here's what I learned, and here's how I did this, or here, like those things are powerful. Those things are important, not that other stuff. And we need to move away from that stuff that means nothing, and sharing the best gift because that's not the greatest gift. Like we've been in this mode, this old era mode of all those things and sharing those things and this, me turning up and all that other stuff, as a way of showing my life is really good. But is it? See, because if your life was really good, couldn't you just stand there 10 toes in and just share? Right? Why would I have to have it staged and the lighting perfect and all this other stuff? If my life is so good, I don't have to have it staged because you would just see that my life is good. I don't have to have the perfect shot, the perfect angle, the perfect pose if my life is so good. And I think, people unfortunately, especially younger people get caught up in that. And I'd like them to see more realness and not get caught up in believing that that makes life good or that's a gift or that's something special. I'd love young people to believe that they're the gift, that somewhere in them they possess these amazing gifts, talents, whatever abilities. And it's not that other stuff, it's the fact that maybe they listen really well. Maybe they're really good at making their friends feel better, making their friends laugh. That's an awesome thing. That's something they can be proud of, and they don't have to worry about, is somebody gonna take it? Is it gonna get old? Do I have to replace it? That's you. Those material things are gonna go. They're gonna get old, you're gonna have to place it, you're gonna buy new ones, you gotta pay insurance, all this other stuff. But if it's you, you don't have to worry about any of that. And I think we need to start teaching young people the value of the happiness, that the value of really being of service, because real service lights you up in a way that you can't even imagine. I remember when someone taught me what a service leader was, and I tried really hard to be a leader, a service leader, because it's important. It fills me in a way that nothing else does. And I don't have to worry about somebody taking it away, or do I have to work for it or go to a job for it. It's something that's in me, and it's something that I have control over. And I think that's the key. You are the biggest gift. Um, and we need to say that more instead of letting the external things be the gift. And we get caught up like the other shows we've talked about, hair, makeup, buying people gifts, all that crazy nonsense. You're the gift. And when people start realizing they're the gift, it shifts everything in our world. We move different, we talk different, we interact different when we realize that we're the gift and that's the service we provide for everyone else. And I'll land with that.
Respectfully, I like that part that you said, service to the people. Um, Reese Mullah. One second. What can you give that costs nothing?
Kindness. I don't want to just say the same thing LaShawna said, but I do think that you as a person and what all of that entails. But I think that a lot of times one of the biggest things that I see on a day-to-day basis is that people don't give other people kindness. Um, you never know what somebody else is going through, and you don't know how big it is to them. And I feel like kindness is not in our world anymore. And respect. Um, I just that's something that kind of stuck out was just kindness. I mean, sometimes a smile and a wave can make somebody's day. But giving yourself your true self and is going to be your ultimate gift to anybody else, because you possess so many powers within yourself that that's where your knowledge part comes in. That's where you want to spread your knowledge to other people if they're willing to accept it. And there's so many things within yourself that you can give freely without buying somebody something or giving somebody something. But that was one that was a big one that stood out to me was kindness. I feel like we lack it as a society overall. We're so quick to judge other people. And again, that goes back, judge yourself. If you judge yourself every day and you think about what part you play in a lot of things, it will make you better. And I can sit here and point out 1,000 things that I think is wrong with somebody else, but am I willing to take accountability to point those things out within myself? So you can be kind to yourself. You can be kind to other people. Spread love. It's free. It doesn't cost a dime to be nice or love other people. And I think that, our younger generation does lack a lot of that. My daughter, she constantly calls me bro, and it drives me insane because I'm sitting there thinking like that's our generation though. Not our generation. That's our kids' generation, is that toughness and that bro and all that. I don't know. I hate it. It drives me nuts. I'm your mom. I'm not your bro. But I think that, knowledge is a big thing that we can give away that's free. Teach our younger generation what we know. And, that doesn't mean like the textbook things. I'm talking about life things, what you lived and experienced. I used to remember in school, I used to always hate the people that came in and talked about their life and all their things. And then I was like, why don't I sit here and listen about you? And then I realized as I was getting older that they were dropping jewels of things that they've already experienced and went through. One of my biggest things for being a teen mom, I had my daughter when I was 17, I was pregnant at 16. And one of my biggest things that I wanted was her not to be a teen mom. And she never understood why you drill this in my head so much. And it was, I didn't want you to go through the struggles that I already experienced at that age. I remember sitting for my 11th grade finals pregnant and people talking about me and, dropping out of school and not like so many different things that I witnessed and I experienced because of that one thing. So I feel like when you give knowledge of experiences that you've went through to teach them to be better, we don't. And I think that our generation used to push it aside, because I remember my grandmother used to drop those gems and I just ignored it and ignored it and ignored it. And, one day she looked at me, she said, you're going to have a daughter and she's going to be 10 times worse than you. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, you push those things aside. And then I had a daughter and her attitude was worse than mine. And, it's that knowledge part that we want to teach people, that when, you experience things, we're not telling you to be a nag. We're not telling it, we're trying to have you skip those mistakes because we already learned that mistake. So my biggest thing is knowledge and kindness. They're free. And I'm gonna land with that.
Respectfully, I like the judge part, man. Judge yourself before you want to judge others. I like that part. The dirt
Yeah.
brings home, man.
Support. You know, it's free to do that. It doesn't cost nothing to like this video, subscribe to this channel. Doesn't cost much to make it. Doesn't cost nothing to leave a comment. You know, I think about how much people don't support each other. You know, and same people, you can't tell you anything that happened on your episode or call you the next day and ask for $20. Can they borrow $20? So it's like, I think that support is free. Support doesn't have to just be watching the show. It can be somebody listening, you know, listening. We think of things so we take so much fucking things as far as money's concerned, but we don't think about the idea of like how much free shit we can do that don't cost you nothing. It just wish somebody a good day, give somebody a call, you know, and give somebody a chance to get better. You know what I'm saying? And love is free. It don't cost nothing to love somebody. I know that could be confusing with so much prostitution going on in this world. So much OnlyFans, you know what I mean, going on. It's like, hold on, I need you to pay to support me. But really, you know, just to love somebody, that's a free thing to do, you know. And showing up, it's free to do that. It's free to show up, depending on what they want you to show up for. Now, they want you to show up the movies, that's probably going to cost you $1 million, but, you know, they might need you just to show up in the sense of, like I said, just be in the air. You know, so many times I think about things I've done for my cousin, or he has done for me financially, but the things that mean the most is just listening and hearing each other out. So that's free. And I'll end with that.
Respectfully, man, I want to appreciate y'all. The transparency. You already know y'all flight family for life. What can you give that costs nothing? I agree with all of y'all, man. Someone helps you, you help somebody else. Someone encourages you, you encourage somebody else. Somebody gives you an opportunity, you create one for somebody else. Gratitude doesn't end with you, man. It's actionable, man. It's passed on. You feel me? Yeah, man. Don't just count your blessings. Put them on payroll. You feel me? Make sure them joints come back and go forward. We're gonna get to our last commercial and then we're gonna close out. Y'all all right?
Yep.
Still flying.
Yep.
Let's do a last commercial and we up out of here.
Hood service announcement warning: the following content is for entertainment purposes only. It contains real talk, raw humor, and unfiltered commentary. If you can't take a joke, this might not be for you.
HSA, 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 HSA. It's the hood service announcement. We got news on the way. HSA, HSA, HSA. It's the hood service announcement. We got news on the way. It's the hood service announcement. We got news on the way. What you gonna hear is the news of the day, and we keep it real. We don't got no time to play. We just tell you what it is, and we do it with no delay. Talking rent due, lights due, food on the plate. Talking little bro, sliding, trying to dodge that case. Talking auntie in the back, trying to keep her faith. All facts right now, not a second late. HSA, 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 HSA. It's the hood service announcement. We got news on the way. HSA.
Go tap in with my guy. You're gonna see us tomorrow at 8,
Yep.
and every Monday and Wednesday and Friday at 8.
Yeah,
8:47.
tomorrow take him to jail. So come through for that. Come through for that. Especially
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Special shout out to y'all. You already know. Every time I want to give some special shout outs to Keep It Up with Reese Island, Riding with Rico, T Bryson 73, and 728 Brooklyn. Those are the last subscribers. I want to shout out to y'all. I'm on the road to 1K. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel, man. I appreciate it. It means a lot. Close this thing out. Maybe gratitude isn't about convincing yourself that life is perfect. Somebody has more money. Somebody has a bigger house. Somebody has the relationship you wanted. Somebody has the career you dreamed about. Somebody else may be facing something much harder than you are. But your life isn't supposed to be measured against everybody else's. Your assignment is to recognize your own. Because the person who has everything can still be miserable. And the person who has less can still recognize abundance. So appreciate the people who stayed, appreciate the lessons that changed you, appreciate the ordinary mornings, appreciate another chance, appreciate the breath you're taking while you're listening to this podcast as we speak. And when life gets difficult, because believe me, it will, don't force yourself to say everything is good. Say something more honest like everything isn't good, but there's still good here. That's gratitude. Not pretending or comparing, just opening up your eyes wide enough to see the whole picture. Because sometimes the greatest blessing isn't getting everything you asked for. Sometimes it's finally realizing how much you already had. And that's why I created the Think system. Take inventory, honor people, appreciate the ordinary, notice the good, keep perspective, and share gratitude. And don't forget to thank the people who helped you get there. Protect your peace. We're going to see you next episode. And thank you for flying with us on Land Your Plane Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your destination. Please remain seated until you have properly processed. Keep your mind clear until next time.
Land your plane, land your plane, land your plane.